sobrang di ko pa mapaniwala. Maraming salamat sa suporta at sana patuloy yung support.
She could have asked me, like, just, bruh. I'm sorry. Apparently a lot of come-ons that she was angry about, but whatever.
Tears in Melbourne, a miracle hug that stopped the Australian Open, Eala's historic homecoming, and Naomi Osaka's controversial outfit welcome back to Courtiva Tennis, where we don't just watch the match, we feel the heartbeat of the game. Grab your coffee, or maybe something stronger, because today we're unpacking a story that has left the entire tennis world reaching for the tissue box. We're talking about a moment so raw and unscripted it made the scoreboards feel irrelevant, starting with a miracle on Court 6 involving a fan who sold everything for one last glimpse of hope. We'll also head to the Philippines for a historic homecoming that has Coco Gauff and WTA stars buzzing, and yes, there's drama. Naomi Osaka has stepped out in an outfit critics are calling disrespectful and tacky, sparking an absolutely savage social media clapback. There's so much to cover, emotions are high, fashion choices are questionable, and history is being rewritten. We have to start in Melbourne at the Australian Open 2026, a tournament known for 5-set thrillers, late-night finishes, sunburns, and shocking upsets, but this year delivered something that transcended sport entirely. On Outer Court 6, usually reserved for grinders and up-and-comers battling for ranking points in the sweltering heat, the energy was different, thick with anticipation you could almost touch, as fans packed the stands and a man named Marco, no celebrity, no VIP. Just a guy from Manila, sat in the accessible seating area at the center of a moment the tennis world will never forget. Few months earlier in the Philippines, Marco was sitting in a doctor's office in Quezon City, hearing the kind of news that stops your world on its axis: metastatic cancer, the fight of his life, the sort of diagnosis that makes everything else feel suddenly small and trivial. But in the darkness of that moment, Marco held onto a dream, a single source of light, and that light was Eala. For years he had watched her rise from a junior champion at the Rafa Nadal Academy to a bona fide WTA title holder in Guadalajara, the pride of a nation, the Bolana lefty who proved that Philippine tennis belonged on the world stage. So Marco made a decision that might sound reckless to some but feels perfectly logical to anyone who has ever loved the game with their whole heart. He sold his old motorbike, his main way of getting through the chaotic streets of Manila, emptied his savings down to the last peso, and bought a plane ticket to Melbourne and a single Australian Open ground pass. He didn't care about corporate boxes or celebrity sightings, he just wanted to be there, to see her play once, to feel one moment of pure joy before the darkness closed in. Fast forward to the match, with Eala battling under the Melbourne sun at 20 years old, carrying the weight of a nation that treats beauty pageants, boxing, and now tennis like religion. The match ends, the crowd roars in appreciation, and then, amid the noise, something almost mystical happens as Alex looks up, scans the stands with the same focused eyes that have stared down match points and championship pressure, and locks eyes with Marco, without knowing his story, his sacrifices, his chemo sessions, or the quiet battles he fights every morning just to get out of bed. Yet in that split second, everything changes, and that second, the noise of Melbourne Park seemed to dissolve into nothing. Perhaps she noticed the Philippine flag draped over his wheelchair, the brilliant sun and stars set against red, white, and blue, or perhaps she saw something deeper in his eyes. That volatile mix of despair and blinding hope that only sport can unlock in the human heart. What happened next wasn't in any script, media guide, or tournament protocol. Eala, exhausted, drenched in sweat, adrenaline still surging, didn't head to her bench or sign the camera lens for the broadcast audience. She placed her hand over her heart in a purely instinctive gesture and ran, sprinting past startled security guards reaching for their radios and straight toward the barrier where Marco sat. The stadium fell silent before erupting into a different kind of roar, the sound of thousands realizing they were witnessing something extraordinary, as Alex reached over the railing and didn't offer a quick, perfunctory handshake but held his hand, refusing to let go. Witnesses say Marco wept openly, shoulders shaking as he whispered something in Tagalog meant only for her, while Alex, the 20-year-old superstar with endorsements and magazine covers, fought back tears of her own. In a world of multimillion-dollar deals and curated Instagram feeds where everything is filtered and managed, this moment was raw and unpolished. A reminder that for some people tennis isn't just a game for trophies and prize money, it's a reason to hold on for one more day, hope made tangible. That image, Alex's hand over her heart and Marco's tear-streaked face, is already the defining photograph of the 2026 Australian Open. Forget the winners lifting trophies. Forget the Forget the champagne-soaked celebrations, this is the image that will endure, a testament to the resilience of the Filipino spirit. The Bayanihan tradition of communal unity and compassion that traveled thousands of miles to a tennis court in Melbourne and created something unforgettable. The story has gone viral far beyond tennis, picked up by major news outlets as the hashtag Miracle on Court 6 trends worldwide, shared by people who have never watched a match in their lives because it transcends sport and taps into something universal: human connection, sacrifice, and an athlete who chose compassion over celebration in her moment of triumph. The epilogue is just as beautiful, moved by what they witnessed. Tournament organizers upgraded Marco's credentials for the rest of the Australian Open, granting him access to showcase matches and a guaranteed seat whenever Alexandra Eala plays. The tennis community rallied, a GoFundMe was launched to help with his medical expenses, and it has already surpassed its goal by several 100%, with fans contributing from Serbia to Spain to Sweden, proving what this sport can be at its best. In an interview with a Filipino sports network, Marco put it simply, "I came to Melbourne to see Alex play. I thought it would just be a memory to hold on to in the difficult days ahead, but she gave me so much more. She reminded me I'm not alone, and that there's still beauty in this world worth fighting for." If that doesn't give you goosebumps, check your pulse, because the Filipino spirit doesn't stop in Melbourne. This emotional moment on Court 6 is merely the prelude to what could become the biggest homecoming in Asian tennis history. Mark your calendars, because the WTA is returning to Manila for the inaugural Philippine Women's Open, a WTA 125 event poised to electrify the capital and place Philippine tennis firmly on the global map. A monumental moment, decades in the making for a nation whose love for the sport was forged on humid afternoons at local clubs, makeshift provincial courts, and the legendary exploits of Felicissimo Ampon, the 4'11" giant slayer of Wimbledon and the U.S. Championships, culminating now in history being written in real time at the historic Rizal Memorial Tennis Center, named after national hero Jose Rizal, whose walls still echo stories from the 1934 Far Eastern. Those walls remember championship matches from a time when Manila was a buzzing hub of regional sport, and they whisper stories of the 2016 Manila Challenger, when a young Mikhail Yuzhny, the colonel himself, once ranked number 8 in the world, lifted the trophy, offering fans a tantalizing glimpse of what professional tennis looked like when it came to town. That tournament was a tease, featuring gritty competitors like Luca Vanni and Lucas Lacco, and giving local heroes such as Francis Casey Alcantara and Jezan Petromban a rare chance to test themselves on a professional stage in front of a home crowd. But 2026 is different. This isn't a one-off challenger squeezed into the calendar. It's a WTA 125, a proving ground where rising stars chase vital ranking points and established players rebuild momentum. Renovation crews have been working around the clock at the Rizal Memorial Tennis Center, polishing pristine courts and upgrading facilities to international standards, while the humidity remains relentless, a home court advantage that Alex Eala and every Filipino player will happily embrace. And leading the charge is the woman of the hour herself, wild-card entrant Alexandra Eala, arriving not as a wide-eyed junior with distant dreams, but she arrives in Manila not as a hopeful prospect but as a champion with silverware to her name. Having lifted her maiden WTA 125 title at the Guadalajara Open in 2025, a breakthrough moment when her heavy lefty forehand and Rafa Nadal Academy grit finally translated into trophies on the professional tour as she dismantled opponents with controlled aggression that made her coaches beam. The hype for Manila is off the charts. Tickets sold out within 48 hours, scalpers are reportedly charging triple face value, and fans are still buying Super Bowl level enthusiasm for a WTA 125 that tells you everything about the Philippines' passion for tennis right now. Alex teased the moment on Instagram with travel shots, training clips, and candid photos with friends, captioned simply, "Here, there, everywhere," a nod to the jet-setting grind of the tour and a quiet signal that her heart is wherever her fans are, from Melbourne to Madrid to Manila, and the comments section reads like a WTA roll call. Iva Jovic, the American standout who partnered with Eala at the ASB Classic in Auckland, dropped a loaded doubles with you, sending fans into a frenzy over a possible reunion, while Coco Gauff, who teamed up with Alex at the 2025 Italian Open in a partnership that sent tennis Twitter into meltdown, left a simple but telling comment that underscored the respect Eala commands in the locker room. She isn't just a wild card filling out a draw, she's earned her place among the elite through her game, work ethic, and humility. Not every comment, though, was pure sweetness. Canadian rising star Victoria Mboko chimed in with a compliment laced with competitive fire, and there's spicy history dating back to the 2025 Hong Kong Open, where Mboko knocked Eala out in a brutal 2.5-hour slugfest that pitted Mboko's flat, missile-like power against Eala's crafty lefty spin and tactical variety, leaving both players gasping between points. Sportsmanship is nice on Instagram, but if they meet at Rizal Memorial, the pleasantries will end at the net handshake. And the field doesn't stop there. Donna Vekic, the Croatian powerhouse with one of the biggest serves in the women's game, is in the mix, along with Lulu Sun, whose miraculous Wimbledon run a few seasons back capture hearts worldwide. Add to that the crafty veteran Tatiana Maria, whose slice-and-dice game becomes an absolute nightmare in humid conditions, perfectly suited to Manila's sticky, heavy air, where her ability to float the ball one moment and rip it the next forces opponents to generate all their own pace like trying to hit shots wrapped in wet towels. Eala will learn her first-round opponent once qualifying wraps up, but honestly, the draw won't matter to the fans. Resall Memorial is going to be packed to the rafters, loud enough to rival a Grand Slam, chaotic in the best way, with supporters arriving hours early, waving flags, chanting Alex's name, and turning the grounds into a full-blown fiesta. This isn't just a tennis tournament. It's a celebration of Filipino pride and the realization of a dream many believed would take decades to reach. The government is all in, with the Department of Tourism heavily promoting the event as a chance to showcase Manila on the world stage, and the projected economic impact is massive. Thousands of international visitors expected, hotels fully booked, restaurants near the venue rolling out special menus. This is bigger than tennis, a genuine moment of national pride, and for Alexandra Eala, the pressure in Manila will be immense, but it's also familiar territory for Alexandra Eala, who has carried the hopes of a nation since she was a teenager and learned long ago how to live under the spotlight. Still, playing at home with every shot dissected by millions on television and thousands more screaming from the stands is a different kind of test, and the question everyone is asking is simple. Can she handle it? Can she channel the emotion, expectation, and love into performance? If Melbourne taught us anything, it's that Eala thrives on emotion rather than shrinking from it. The moment with Marco wasn't a distraction from her tennis, but an extension of who she is as both a person and a competitor, someone who plays with her heart on her sleeve and connects with people through that authenticity. So yes, the pressure will be there in Manila, but so will the belief, the energy, and the sense that something special is possible. And now, from the heartwarming and historic, we have to pivot sharply into the downright bizarre and deeply controversial, because it's time to talk about Naomi Osaka. And buckle up, because this is where things get messy. Osaka has always been a fashion icon, a Met Gala co-chair, a Vogue cover star, a trendsetter who uses style as self-expression and empowerment, but her appearance at the 2026 Australian Open has ignited a firestorm that's overshadowing her tennis and split the sport down the middle. Picture the scene. First round on Rod Laver Arena, the crowd waiting for a four-time Grand Slam champion who has lifted the Daphne Accursed Memorial Cup on this very court, only for Osaka to float out as if she were arriving at the Academy Awards, wearing an outfit best described as avant-garde jellyfish meets Victorian morning wear, layers of white netting billowing with every step, topped by a hat so enormous it practically had its own postcode, completely obscuring her face. And just to seal the moment, she didn't walk out like a normal athlete with her racket bag slung over her shoulder. She arrived with an entourage, an actual. Osaka's entrance was nothing short of a spectacle. An entourage carrying her gear as she sashayed onto the court like she was closing Paris Fashion Week, cameras flashing and the crowd murmuring in disbelief. The internet broke instantly, social media exploding with reactions ranging from applause for her audacity to outright mockery, memes appearing within minutes comparing her to everything from wedding cakes to haunted bridal gowns. Even Jamie Murray, the usually laid-back doubles legend, couldn't contain himself on BBC 5 Live Sport, laughing in genuine bewilderment and saying, "It was like Mary Poppins on I don't know what she was on, but she's on something." For many, the sentiment was the same. This is a tennis match, Naomi, not a Lady Gaga music video. Criticism sharpened quickly. Liza West, a prominent tennis and fashion influencer, called it outright disrespect to the sport, arguing that requesting a prime-time night slot just to showcase a costume unrelated to athletics insulted players, fans, and the game itself. She went further, labeling the outfit cheap and tacky, unfit even for a red carpet, and accused Osaka of attention-seeking behavior designed for social media headlines rather than genuine self-expression. The drama didn't remain online, it spilled onto the court. In the second round against Romanian veteran Saren Cerci, known for her no-nonsense approach and respect for tennis tradition, the tension was palpable. Icy glares at changeovers, muttered words at the net, and body language dripping with annoyance made it clear Cerci felt like a supporting character in someone else's publicity stunt. And how did Naomi respond? Did she issue a PR apology or tone it down for her next match? Absolutely not. This is Naomi Osaka. And this is Naomi Osaka. We're talking about a player who has never shied away from standing up for what she believes in, even at the cost of sponsorships or favorable media coverage. She took to Threads, the app everyone had forgotten until she revived it with a fiery statement, writing paraphrasing slightly but keeping the sentiment exact about a demographic criticizing her outfits and calling her classless. Her message was clear: she isn't doing this for them, they will never get it, and she doesn't want them to. She does it for people like her. Mic drop. Framing it as a culture war, Osaka pitched old guard versus new, tradition versus self-expression, conformity versus individuality, making it unmistakably clear: if you think it's tacky or disrespectful, you're simply not her audience, and she's perfectly fine with that. It's a bold stance, and depending on your perspective, either incredibly brave or completely tone-deaf. Her supporters argue that tennis has always been about pushing boundaries, from Billie Jean King fighting for equal prize money to Serena Williams breaking fashion norms with catsuits, and that Osaka is merely the latest in a line of players who refuse to be put in a box, using the sport as a platform to express themselves far beyond baseline rallies and trophy presentations.